want to it's like I want to pray to God. I want to pray to God. And people who don't pray, or people who once prayed and have given up praying, people who prayed for a decade or two in their early life and now have not prayed for a decade or two. As you know, that's what happened to me. Well, but people who either don't pray, who have never prayed, are always thinking that people are praying to go to heaven. And of course, you can't ever really get away from that. Like, yeah, I don't want I don't want to burn in eternal fire, so to speak. Most people aren't philosophically adept enough to understand that hell is not eternal. Hell is a very long forever. We live in a very short forever. Hell is a very long forever. You can't see it, but my arms are spread side to side, fingertip to fingertip, full body length. But heaven, I could be on the top of the mountain, looking 40 miles out, and I'm still in hell. I can't see heaven yet. So, us little people, when we are plunged into the heavenly realms, us little people in time, we are very little people in time. Hell is a very, very, very big time in a heavenly realm. Eternity, well, everything is structured in eternity, but the Omega, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, well, the beginning and the end, I am, before you were, I am, that crystallizes time into like a real thing. The delta, change, progression. And if God is infinite, yet the Alpha goes to the Omega, there's really only two choices. And this is the fucked up thing. I think this is lost on much of mathematics. And the history and philosophy of science as a branch of philosophy is pretty much just about only the legitimate philosophy in the world today. Like, that will last at all. The history and philosophy of science as a... and I'm talking over the last 70 years, 120 years. Those are very rough numbers. The history and philosophy of science is pretty much only it's the only kind of true philosophy, because all the stuff you hear, there's all these philosophy professors out there who are all over the media, and they are, I mean, I'm sorry, they will not last the test of time. I mean, entire branches, But what the history and philosophy of science has going for it, and I think even though this person isn't a philosopher of the history of science. I think Brett Weinstein is a fantastic representation of the spirit of that philosophy, the underlying form of that philosophy as exhibited through a person living his life, and his wife also, and I assume their children. Anyway, he's a popular figure that regular people can relate to, even though there are other more exotic, esoteric, elite individuals who might in the domain of the history and philosophy of science, might be more prominent popularly. I think Brett Weinstein and certainly his brother Eric represent that popularly. And so for like regular people like me, house painters, right? And I'm not the only one. I got another buddy who's a house painter I work with sometimes, and he's all caught into that what was called several years back the intellectual dark web, but we overlap with it differently, but we both overlap on the Weinstein brothers. The good Weinsteins, not the bad one. So, and one of the reasons why that area has, see, this is the thing. All other philosophies have, back in the day, right? Because we talk about Socrates. Well, it depends which way you're looking at this video, but we talk about Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. No. Heraclitus, Aristotle, Iamblichus, Mary, Agnes of Rome, Hypatia. That's the 33, baby. Or at least, if you took those 6 names and then just for the next 6 months researched those names alongside researching Raphael's papal apartments. Now, of course, you won't stop there. You couldn't do it if you tried. There are probably hundreds of audio Bibles you can listen to. You can select an app. You can download a book. You can go on to Audible. I have a full Bible on audio on Audible. There's also this full Bible audio on Spotify that I like. A little bit of commentary. Nice woman who just decided to do it from the goodness of her heart, And but there's countless of them. Different translations in English of the Bible, different denominations. There's so many Bibles, but it's almost, if you listen to an audio version of a Bible from beginning to end, and that's all as you did in your waking moments, like if you got up in the morning, put on your earphones, and started listening to the Bible, and just close your eyes and listen, and let all the images come up. And that's the thing, man. Most people don't get through Genesis and like the Torah, because the Torah is big. The Torah was big. What? Because in in the New Testament, it starts off, and it's harshing on the Pharisees and the Sadducees. But so far as I know, and this came from Matt Whitmore in his 10-minute Bible Hour podcast, which is like a difficult podcast to get through because like years and years back, it started out 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks. It's like 1,000 hours on like one book of the Bible. I can't remember at this time if it's Matthew or Mark. I think it's Matthew, but he rips it apart. But anyway, one of the things he pointed out was how like the Pharisees were a bit more like Old Testament plus Maccabees, maybe something like that. I'm probably getting that book name wrong. If I remember, I'll annotate it later, but. And then the Sadducees, they're all about the Torah. And everything after the Torah, they poo-poo on. That's a big difference. It's a big difference of just being the Torah and being the entire Old Testament. That's huge. And not only that, as it came up later, not that it was told to me, but I noticed that... well, no, maybe I think I read one sentence in my what little study I've done of Islam, which is actually like, hundreds and hundreds of hours, but I recognize that anything less of 10,000 hours is just nothing. But now that I'm older, I realize that, right? We tell young people, "Oh, get your 2,000 hours." That's just so that then when they get to the end of the 2,000 hours, it gives them the stamina to be like, oh, wait, I need way more. And it's like, well, you got through them first 2,000 hours, so you only got 5 more to go. And then when you get to the 10,000 hours, forget about it. You're fucked. But I'm just going to pause for a second so I can remember what I was talking about without wasting memory. It'll take a minute, I think. I'm going to have to retrace my thoughts. I got lost in a tangent in my mind. It happens. I'll be right back. I didn't even need to explain this. I could have just done a cut. Why did I explain it? I'm explaining it to myself. Because too often when I get to this point, I just shut off, press stop, delete the video. But I had something I had to say, and I haven't even gotten through the preface. So I'm going to give myself the opportunity to pause, recollect, resume the prayer I began before I pressed record. And then, God willing, come back to it.